The road to Battleground is clear. It is coming up right here and is near. And tonight's NXT definitely delivered. But we got to talk about it. But first, we got to hit you with that intro.
All your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the We Book It podcast. Let's start the show.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the We Book It podcast. This is Who's Next in NXT. I am your host, Virgil. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and for watching this episode. Please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. You can also follow us. We are on all different types of social media. Just search We Book It Podcast. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We are on X. And of course, you're watching us here live on YouTube, or whether you're watching us on Twitch. We appreciate you so much. Please go ahead and leave a comment in the section. Let us know what you think of the episodes, as well as thank you so much for tuning in, guys. And to make sure you subscribe if you have not already. The We Book It Nation is growing steadily. So, guys, we have live coverage on the final episode before Battleground. And there's so much that happened. Joe Hendry performed a concert. Trick Williams also performed. Kaylani Jordan versus Zaria. Javon Evans versus Sean Legacy versus Ashante the Adonis. And then, of course, we had Josh Briggs versus Sean Spears. And then Chase U versus OTM. This was another great episode of NXT. So NXT opened tonight with a shot of Ricky Saints arriving in the NXT parking lot and walking right to the arena as his music plays. He wanted to see the first match up close and personal. The first match was Javon Evans going up against Sean Legacy versus Ashanti the Adonis. These are all men that could be vying for that NXT North American Championship. Personally, I think Javon Evans should be the one to go up against Ricky Saints. It would be great to see those two in the ring together, but we'll have to see what happened in the match. So Evans was the first out for the triple threat, with Adonis and the NXT's newest star, Legacy, coming out after that. Adonis threw his jacket at Legacy and went after Evans, trying to get an early advantage, but ended up being sent out of the ring instead. Legacy was obviously looking to make a big impression in this match and showed some athleticism and some enthusiasm. All three men worked hard to make this match feel fast-paced, physical. Nobody was the obvious winner ahead of time, which always makes the ending even much more fun. So while this match was a lot of fun, it also had a handful of moments that should have looked better. You can chalk it up to Legacy's lack of experience because he wasn't involved in all of them. Adonis almost stole the win after a super hurricanrana from Evans to Legacy that spawned a "This is awesome" chant from the crowd. Ethan Page then attacked Saints from the crowd as the match was coming to a close, so Evans dove onto both men and several security guards. Adonis tried to take advantage of Evans, taking himself out of the match, but Legacy was able to hit a twisting suplex to get the win. And Legacy defeated Adonis and Evans. Like I said, it was a pretty good match all the way around. I thought that it was pretty good. Again, it had its spots in the match that you just kind of like, could have done without that. But again, these are all young guys in the ring, just trying to figure it out, man. And like I said, just trying to make an impression on Shawn Michaels and the higher ups, so they can get themselves in line for either a North American title shot or an NXT Championship title shot, or maybe even a TNA World title shot. So we'll have to see. After a quick backstage segment, Williams made his way to the ring for his rap performance. Hendry was shown watching from backstage and practicing on his guitar. The performance ended without anyone else getting involved. Let me tell you something. Trick Williams himself is a pretty good rapper. I don't know if you guys have ever watched any of his. I don't know if you guys follow him on Instagram, but he has the greatest Instagram music videos that he makes for his opponents. He made a new rap where he dissed Joe Hendry. And talked about how he was going to become the TNA World title and TNA World Champion and take everything away from Joe Hendry that he had worked so hard to get. Joe Hendry in the back did not look impressed at all by this. And we know Joe Hendry's going to have shots fired as soon as he comes out to do his guitar solo. So we'll have to see about that later on in the night. But we go back to the show. Up next, Briggs versus Spears, who had his whole crew ringside with him, including the former partner of Briggs, Brooks Jensen. Briggs came out during the picture-in-picture part of the commercial break. We returned to see the match already in progress. Briggs had size and power advantage, but Spears is not a small man and had a lot more experience he could bring to the table, so the fight felt even. This bout had a steady pace, but it never felt like they found their groove. Nothing they did looked bad, but nothing looked especially good either. Spears won with a roll-up thanks to interference from his followers. Briggs tried to keep the fight going, but the numbers game caught up to him. And then, just when you thought Briggs was going to get his ass whooped, Hank and Tank show up and made the save to clear the ring. Once again, Spears did win the match. Uh, like I said, it was all right. It wasn't too bad, but nothing really to write home about either. The announcers also mentioned Kiana James in passing, who is still signed to WWE but hasn't appeared anywhere in quite some time due to a leg injury. So let's see what's going on with that. Um, Kale Dixon and Uriah Connors of Chase U took on Bronco Nima and Lucien Price in a tag team match this week. The Chase U students were giving up a lot of size and power to OTM, so this felt like a very lopsided matchup, especially since all four men are relatively inexperienced. This match was short and predictable. OTM scored a pretty easy victory over Chase U. There wasn't much to make of this, but OTM just looked like complete badasses. And for what it's worth, the tag team divisions on the main roster could definitely use a boost. So if you can get guys like Chase U and OTM ready to come up to the main roster, I think that just bodes well and benefits them much better. Um Again, it's really weird because you don't really know what WWE really has planned for Andre Chase. He doesn't feel like he belongs on the main roster as a wrestler. But he could end up being a manager. We'll just have to see what happens with that. Next up, we have Femi and Bourne had their final confrontation before Battleground, the ruler. The rest of the NQCC was not present, which Femi has said he respected. Bourne talked about proving everyone who underestimates him wrong. The men's winner, LFG, attacked Femi after Bourne left the ring. Bourne ran back and scared him off, but Femi refused his hand when he tried to help him up. And then, like I said, so it was a nice little back and forth promo battle between these two. Um, like I said, obviously you could tell that Bourne probably is not going to beat Oba Femi. I think it's too soon to put a championship on him. But like I said in last week's Who's Next with NXT, I do expect Bourne to have a very good showing in this match, a very strong showing in this match. And again, I just think that it'll be great. So we move on from there. The next match is Lola Vice battling Fallon Henley, who had JC Jane with her. As soon as they lock up, they were pushing each other all over the ring, trying to get the upper hand. Henley got in with the first few hits, but Vice quickly took her down and applied a couple of different submissions. Jane talked a little trash to her teammate, which isn't surprising given their recent tension. So it's pretty surprising to see Henley controlling the pace as much as she did. This went from being a so-so match to a pretty physical fight during the second half. Jane trying to help backfired, and Vice was able to score the win with a spinning back fist for the W. So Vice defeated Henley. Like I said, Vice has some great looking kicks, but using the kick to block a punch is a very unrealistic move. But outside of that, again, it just again, when you come to watch NXT, you have to remember that some of these guys are still trying to find their way, still trying to learn how to be a superstar, and they're under the best tutelage under Shawn Michaels. He is the what you would look for in a superstar. So I mean, the fact that he is helping them, I think is great. Ava booked Paige for Saints for the North American title next week. She also seemed pretty pissed at them for continuously getting into fights. Next up, we got Kehlani Jordan versus Zariah. Zariah took on Jordan with a shot at the Women's North American Championship on the line. So Ruka accompanied Zariah to the ring. Zarya had the power advantage and made sure to use it early on, but once Jordan got her footing, she used her quickness to take control and with some impressive spots. Again, this was a really well-paced match with some great physicality. It slowed down in places, but not due to its detriment. It had the ebb and flow. So Ruka caught Zarya falling off the apron, but Jordan kicked them into and could kick them into one another. In the confusion, Zarya knocked Ruka off the apron, and Jordan took advantage with a roll up for the win. So Jordan defeated Zarya. This could end up eventually turning into Sol Ruka and Zarya having to fight each other, which I don't think would be a bad thing. Zarya doesn't look like a babyface to me; she looks like a heel. So to me, like I said, it's tough. Yeah, it's tough. Do I have to see what that. And then the final segment for this week's Tuesday night show was the musical performance from Joe Hendry. He sang a song to Tom Williams before their match this weekend. He even showed old footage of Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. I think it was from like a Halloween special from years ago, and it was hilarious. The crowd got a big pop out of that. Williams came out upset and attacked Hendry, which seemed to establish him as the heel in this situation. Then Hendry hit him with a guitar and then chokeslammed him for the standing ovation to end the show. So, like I said, this show was primarily all about hyping up Battleground, which is this coming weekend. You do not want to miss that. You want to tune into that. It's going to be live on the Peacock Network. So please tune in, check out NXT Battleground because it's going to be a great show. Once again, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to the podcast. We appreciate each and every last one of you that tune in. And until next week on Who's Next with NXT, this is Mike Jones. Virgil, appreciate you. Bye-bye.